Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for making the time to join us today. Welcome to the CARES Act Readiness Program for Small Businesses. My name is Edgar Olivo. I am the program manager, and I will be your facilitator for today's session. The Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Arizona Small Business Association, ASBA, are proud to bring you the CARES Act Readiness Program for Small Businesses, a free training program that helps both novice and experienced borrowers navigate the federal CARES Act. With the new rounds of funding, small businesses are encouraged to prepare for the Paycheck Protection Program and all of the required eligibility requirements. ASBA and the Chamber have leveraged their network of bank members, community partners, and online platforms to connect program participants directly with lending resources. We are grateful to have our partners from the U.S. Small Business Administration and Maricopa Small Business Development Center for supporting small businesses with this program, as well as Acronis CyberFit Financing and Lendio, who have created a platform to accelerate and streamline the process for eligible small businesses to access capital. We know there have been recent updates about funding availability, eligibility, and forgiveness processes. With that, I am happy to share we have our business experts on these calls, and they have the most recent information for you to take action now. I will introduce our speakers during our question and answers, and so I will be introducing them at that section. But let's go ahead and take a look at our agenda for today. We will start off with a weekly CARES Act update from the Arizona Chamber. Then we will jump straight into the expert panel, the question and answer session. Then we have a special presentation from ASBA about grants and support services for small businesses in Arizona. And then we will go over some next steps for small business owners to kind of summarize everything that we've talked about. And of course, I want to remind everyone that we do have a toolkit that we will be sharing with everyone at the end of this call, so that all of the links and all of the resources that we will be sharing, we will be discussing those and sharing those with you over an email right after the call. So let's go ahead and get started with our weekly CARES Act update. And today we have Laura Ciscomani. She is the Director of Development at the Arizona Chamber of Commerce. Laura, good morning, and thank you for joining us. What's the latest?
Hi, Edgar. Good morning, and good morning to all of our program participants. We are really happy to have you this morning. We do have some progress to share with the PPP program. The House voted 417 votes to 1 to make changes to the Paycheck Protection Program. So the bill that was passed, HR 7010, makes really important changes to the program. So where businesses had 8 weeks to use the funds they had received, this new bill would change that to 24 weeks or until the end of the year, whichever one comes first. Business owners would also have 5 years instead of 2 years to repay any money owed. And also, instead of 75% being dedicated to payroll spend, there's a little bit more flexibility with this bill. Business owners would only have to use 60% of that to payroll, of their loan to payroll. And there's other changes to documentation requirements and other loan terms, but those are the really important changes. This bill is now headed to the Senate and for consideration. The Senate also has a resolution that's being considered, although they broke for recess before they were able to vote on it. A different version of the same, a different version of changes they'd like to see to the Paycheck Protection Program, but it seems like the Senate and the House should be able to come, agree on changes soon. Senator Rubio has expressed some concerns about the language of the House bill, but we're hoping that the Senate will take up the bill next week. And even though they aren't in Washington, they could pass a Senate amended bill by voice vote because they aren't scheduled to formally be in session next week. So that's the update that we have. There is progress with the Paycheck Protection Program and making changes that will help business owners by providing more flexibility with the program. Edgar, that's our update, and we look forward to having more good news for our program participants.
Thank you, Laura. Definitely good news. Let's all cross our fingers and our toes that all that gets resolved quickly. Okay, let's jump straight into our panel questions and our panel session. We know we have a lot of questions from our audience, so I want to remind you that if you have any questions, feel free to send them at any time via your chat room. I'd be more than happy to send them over to our panelists. We do have a handful of experts that are here to help you and answer any questions in regards to resources, grants, PPP loan application, the loan forgiveness application, resources that are available in other centers. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. And you just heard from Laura Siscomani, who is the Development Director for Arizona Chamber of Commerce. She leverages this role to fully engage partners and members across the full spectrum of research, initiatives, and programs offered by the Arizona Chamber family. And Laura has been updating us on a weekly basis with the status of any updates from Congress. Robin Duncan. Robin is the Vice President of ASBA and has resided in Arizona for more than half of her life and spent over 15 years in the corporate world in hospitality, 20 years as a small business owner, and 8 years with the Arizona Small Business Association. She has vast experience in business development for large hospitality sectors and can advise on anything from sales and marketing to operating a small business. Thank you, Robin, for joining us. She will be giving us a special presentation towards the end of the session. We also have Belinda Rosenhausler, who is a commercial loan officer and a 23-year veteran of commercial real estate financing with CDC Small Business Finance, a nonprofit that provides SBA 504 financing to small business owners in Arizona and Nevada. It's great to have Belinda on the call as well. We also are joined by our partners from the SBA. Today we have Delia Gomez. Delia Gomez is the SBA Business Development Specialist for the Small Business Administration. And the Small Business Administration it helps Americans start, build, and grow businesses. The SBA was created in 1953 as an independent agency of the federal government to aid, counsel, assist, and protect the interests of small business owners' concerns, to preserve free, competitive enterprise, and to maintain and strengthen the overall economy of our nation. So thank you, Delia, for joining us there. And we also have Mike Bull, who is a business advisor over at the Maricopa Small Business Development Center. And the Maricopa Small Business Development Center provides advising, training, online courses, and resources for businesses throughout the valley. They are Arizona's largest and most accessible statewide source of assistance of small businesses, and they have been opening doors to opportunity in Arizona since 1988. So it's very, very great to have you here, Mike. Thank you so much. And Mike is a friend from a long time, so we're glad to have him here supporting us with this initiative. Again, for those of you who are watching, on the screen, we have everyone's contact information. So if you are interested in getting in touch with any of our panelists, offline and get into more specific questions about your business, feel free to take a screenshot of what you see on the screen now, and you will have everyone's contact information. We will also be sending an email toolkit with everyone's contact information as well, so that if you have any more questions or would like to set up a meeting with any of our experts, feel free to do so. We'll start off with our friends over at the Maricopa SBDC. Mike, welcome to the CARES Act Live Sessions. It's great to have you here. Tell us what are some of the services that Maricopa SBDC is currently offering, and how are you supporting small businesses during this time?
Hey, good morning, Edgar, and everyone else who's on the call. Thank you for joining us. Good to see you again, Edgar. Yes, we go way back. So the SBDC, what we try to do with all of this is basically help people navigate. I mean, as you heard, there's changes going on today. The House has passed the one bill. Of course, it's not signed, so there's going to be even more changes to that. We're just trying to keep abreast of everything. What we help our small businesses do is just navigate the process. Answer questions like, what's the difference between EIDL and the PPP? Do I have to pay this back? Is it a grant? How do I keep track of stuff? Just, the basic questions like that.
Awesome. And currently, right now, there is still funding available for the PPP loan. What are some of the tips that you are offering, Mike, to small businesses who are still interested in obtaining the PPP funds?
Well, number one, if you're still interested in attaining them, by all means apply. And the tips are basically needing to find somebody who's still taking applications for that, because a lot of the banks are not taking them. They've opened funding to some other special places. So basically find out who to apply with, and then let's talk about how to go about that.
Very good. And I believe some lenders are still offering that. There are some local banks that are offering the PPP funding. CDFIs, Community Development Financial Institutions, are also offering PPP loan funding. We also have a resource that we'll be sharing towards the end of the presentation for folks who are interested in or don't have a banking relationship. I'll be sharing some more resources from Lendio. But Mike, let's talk a little bit about the forgiveness process. What can you share with us as far as the forgiveness process and the information that's been released in the last couple of days?
Well, what I can share with you is just hold your horses. As you can see, things are still changing. They're ever changing. In fact, the SBA themselves, and I think we'll probably have confirmation of that soon, is hesitant to even offer training on this because they know everything's going to change. I know people are getting antsy about it. I know they want to know if they're going to get forgiven. Because, yeah, that's a big decision. Do I spend the money or do I have to pay it back if it's not going to be forgiven? The best advice I can give right now is make sure you're keeping records of where that money goes. If you're spending it on payroll, make sure you're keeping your, whatever you have, your payroll reports, your 941 reports, your canceled checks, your bank statements, everything possible to prove that that's where the money went will help. And even the banks, I think right now you're going to find are hesitant to tell you what to do because no one seems to have gotten definitive answers on how this is all going to work out. So just keep your records, keep prepared, and be patient until we hear.
Those are some great tips. We have Delia from the SBA on the line with us. Delia, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. Delia, can you share with us some of the latest information that you may have on the forgiveness process? We just heard from Mike Bull from the Maricopa Small Business Development Center, and we just want to check with you to see if there's any additional information that you can share with us and our audience about the forgiveness process.
Well, I think what Mike just shared, that I caught the last part of it, is very important for our listeners or viewers. Just keep your records, keep your records. But for right now, with regards to the SBA, what I can say is we are able to provide resources and to point you and to guide you in the guidance that exists, which is our resource partners, like SBDC, Women's Business Centers, ASBA, our chambers. They are the resources that exist currently for our small businesses to help them. But at this point in time, we are unable to interpret policy. So what has been already done for these PPP loans and for the forgiveness of the loans, at this particular time, we do not have authority from headquarters as far as the district office goes. And so we're just waiting. We're waiting for the information that is relevant to the PPP guidance on documents, loan qualifications, and for the forgiveness. However, for those of you that are already like, I need to know what do I need to do, what steps I need to take to be eligible for the forgiveness portion of the PPP, I want you to go to our website. For those of you that are listening, take a quick note, write this website down, which is www.sba.gov. I also want you to go, because there's going to be some information for you moving forward on this. As it stands right now, there is no information as of today, but it will be coming down. It will be just like the money eventually trickled down to the banks and it made its way into the banks of the small businesses. This too will be available to our small businesses that receive the PPP loans, okay? Just be patient is what I'm really asking you. Be patient. It will be there. There will be guidance. There is policy being written on how the lenders are going to be dealing with that. But for right now, we don't have that information for you. And I'm being straight up honest with you, okay? I don't want to misguide you or lead you to believe that, oh yeah, you're going to do this and you're going to do that. And no. Right now, it's waiting time. Let's wait and find out and figure out what the lenders and what the lenders' capacity will be for them to begin to assist you with the forgiveness part of the PPP loans that you received. Okay. Also, the home treasury, there's a website that is also being given to us, the district office employees, and that's the https home.treasury.gov/policy-issues/top priorities /CARE-Act/assistance for small businesses. Okay, so that's a website also that can assist you and help you to answer questions moving forward on this forgiveness portion of the PPP loans.
Thank you, Delia, for that update. We have been referencing a lot of the questions and responses in the FAQs that the Treasury Department has been putting out, and we've also kind of taken a look, and when I say we, I'm talking about myself, the facilitator, taking a look at the application, and there are some tips that I would like to share just to kind of give some people a heads up as to what to expect in the application. But before I do that, I want to welcome also Belinda. Belinda is an SBA expert over at CDC Small Business Finance. And Belinda, I'd love to hear from you what updates you may have from the loan forgiveness process.
And good morning. Good morning, Edgar, and everyone on the call. Well, as you've heard, we are all still waiting for that final direction. We know that there are still funds available. We continue to ask people just to seek those lenders that are still lending, go to the bank that they currently bank with. A lot of the larger institutional banks are now coming back to those that had a reason that it wasn't processed, their application wasn't processed. So if your application was not processed by your lender, I hope that you do receive some information soon from your lender. But if not, continue contacting that lender. If not, please reach out to other lenders and start the process again. Since there is money available, it's important for people to try to get access to it and use all the resources that you're bringing together here, Edgar.
Yeah, that's great advice. Keeping that relationship with your lender is very important.
Right.
Making sure that you have those confirmation emails, those numbers that you on your loan are going to be very important. So thank you for that advice, Belinda. So I'd like to share a little bit of what I've learned about the loan forgiveness application specifically. The application is already been published, and as Delia has shared, she has shared the treasury.gov website and the SBA links as well. We'll have those in our toolkit so that you may access them readily. They'll be readily available in that toolkit as well. So that's something that you have something to look forward to, where all of the information that we will be sharing is in that toolkit. But as for the application for loan forgiveness, if you are interested in now starting that process, there's a couple of terms that you need to learn that are going to be very important to determine how to fill out the application. But this application that is published online, you will fill it out with your lender, and that gets submitted directly to the bank where you applied for your loan. There are about 11 pages to the packet in total, but there are 4 worksheets that are very important to fill out. One of them is the PPP loan forgiveness calculation form. That's the actual application for forgiveness. Then there's a PPP Schedule A. That is where you will put all of your calculations. This packet does include with a series of instructions and glossary of terms on how to fill out each calculation, so it shouldn't be super difficult. But a lot of this information that you will be filling in the application can be easily referenced from your payroll system or payroll processor. So if you work with a payroll processor that distributes payroll for your employees, you should be able to get this information readily available through that. But you will fill out a series of formulas and you will come out with a series of calculations. Then you'll pass those numbers onto the application, and from there you will determine what your loan forgiveness amount will be. And so you will be asked if you pay your employees weekly, bi-weekly, twice a month, monthly. That's going to be important. The instructions do explain what each line means, so make sure you pay attention to the line number of each application. You'll need your employer identification number and your social security number. The business information needs to be the same as your borrower application unless something changed, like your address or your contact information. So make sure you have that information consistent. That'll be something that you can definitely work with your lender, as Belinda had been explaining. So you'll need your SBA loan number, your disbursement date. The date is very important, and the amount that you were given. You'll have to have the number of employees at the time of your application and at the time of your forgiveness, because the difference in those employee levels will matter when it comes time to calculate what your loan forgiveness amount will be. So in the case, if you had any fluctuations in your employee levels during a cover period. Now, a cover period is a term that is used throughout the application, and a cover period means the 8 weeks or 56 days that you have to use the funds. And the cover period starts on 1 or 2 dates, which is either the disbursement date of the loan, the day you got the loan, or there's another cover period called the alternative cover period, which means that you started the covered period will start on the day of your first paycheck after the disbursement date. So one of the 2 dates of your covered periods will matter on how you calculate your employee levels. And so another calculation that's going to be very important is to understand the difference between average annual salary and average hourly pay. If you're going to be calculating the figures that the application asks, make sure that you calculate consistency either through average annual salary or average hourly pay. So pick one or the other to calculate all of the requirements in that application. And there are some exceptions to employee reductions and loan forgiveness reductions amounts. So make sure that you check that out. As long as you've made good effort to bring those employees back, if you've lost them during the cover period, there is some more instructions on how to address that if you've had fluctuations in your employee levels. And so once you sign the application, it's going to be important also to understand that you made representations and certifications on behalf of the borrower that everything is true and meets the forgiveness requirements. There are some consequences if supporting documents and forms are false, and so you want to make sure that you have all of your information correct. If you've been working directly with your lender, you should have all of that information up to date. Tax information will be shared with the lender, from the lender to the SBA and SBA offices. And the SBA may require more information for the purposes of evaluating eligibility for the PPP loan and loan forgiveness. And of course, if you don't provide those documents as requested, they may deny your loan forgiveness amount. So those are some of the tips that I wanted to share with everyone about the loan forgiveness and what we've learned so far, that there are some new terms that people need to learn, and those are the cover periods, what your eligible payroll costs are, what your eligible non-payroll costs are. And just as a reminder, payroll costs need to be 75% of the payroll of the Paycheck Protection Program amount of the funds that you got. 75% need to go to payroll. And as Laura was explaining, there have been some updates to the program that we're waiting complete approval for through Congress. But as of now, this is what the process is. And so check out the application. It is available online. Get familiar with it. One of our other SBA experts had also mentioned get familiar with the application so that when it does come time to apply, that you do have that information ready to go when it's time to apply for loan forgiveness. I hope that helps everyone with this portion of the loan forgiveness. I'd like to ask also Robin. I know she's going to be doing a special presentation for us about resources available for funding for small businesses. Robin, I know I'm jumping ahead on your presentation, but do you have any quick tips that you want to share with us on resources or grants that are available now for small businesses who still need capital?
Absolutely, and good morning, Edgar, and everyone else that's attending today. There's something else I'd like to add to our list that we've mentioned over the past few weeks is the Rapid Employment Job Training Grant. And that's something that will be in your toolkit as well. But this is something the Arizona Commerce Authority has provided to those that want to bring job training back to the environment and office. And so specifics will be available to you on that. We also have some local grants, and I will mention those. Here are just a few. The Better Business Bureau continues to offer the Main Street Grant, and the Arizona Community Foundation of Cox Charities has a grant that does close today, so please check on that. The City of Phoenix Small Business Relief Grants. There's the Phoenix Restaurant Restart Grant, the Phoenix Micro Business Resiliency Grant, and the Veteran Donation Fund Grant. Those are just a few, along with some loans that continue to be available, and those are Tucson has a direct loan program, Kiva Tucson crowdfunding loan, there's a small business success loan, and those are just to name a few for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Robin. Robin's always on the lookout for more resources like that. So thank you, Robin, for sharing that with us. And I'd like to also ask our panelists one more time if they have any additional tips for our small business owners that are on the call. And small business owners, if you're on the call, this is your time to ask some questions. Feel free to send them over through the chat. I'd be happy to send them over. But let's start off with Belinda. Belinda, are there any additional tips that you recommend for small business owners now who are navigating the channels of the PPP program or any SBA funding in general?
Edgar, I would suggest to everyone to reach out, and there's so much help that is available. No one is alone. The SBA is still lending. So outside of the PPP, SBA 7A, 504, Express Loans, Community Advantage, so on and so forth, there is still access to capital. They can go on to the cdcloans.com, see what other resources that are available. You will need to be currently in operation. You will need to show the last 2 years of tax return. So underwriting is going to be a little different today, but there is still access. I want business owners to know that the SBA still has funds available to them.
Wonderful. And the reason we bring that up is because we're sure that there are businesses who have so many different needs, whether they need to expand or use funding for other investments. What are some other reasons why folks are seeking out other SBA programs, Belinda?
Well, you've got people that are still in operation, and they're choosing to now move forward with a purchase because of the fact that they are an essential type of business. And then you've got some that just really need access to working capital. So there's people that are expanding and need leasehold improvements. There's still activity in the commercial real estate realm for business owners. So that is continuing, but it's just taking a lot longer to negotiate, it's taking a lot longer for lenders to be able to lend again, right? If you bank with your bank, that's who you go to for a new loan. It's going to be very difficult for a business owner to enter the world of lending without any type of existing relationship. And if they don't have one, here's the time to do it.
Thank you so much for that advice. And Mike, I know Mike knows a lot about business, and I'm sure he has a lot of great tips. Mike, do you have any additional tips that you'd like to share with us, or some insights that you think we should know?
Talk about putting me on the spot.
You know how it goes, Mike.
Well, number one, I want to echo what Belinda just said. You know, if you're still thinking about doing things, if you still have issues, there are a billion resources out there. Everybody on this panel is a resource. Just reach out, talk to people. That's the best way to start finding out things. The other thing is, Belinda was talking about other loans, but what's really gotten kind of hidden in all of this is the SBA's debt relief program, which if you have an existing 7A loan, they're paying 6 months worth of your payments on that. And if you if you qualify for a new SBA 7A loan, and I think 504 is also in this, but maybe I'm saying that wrong, but definitely the 7A. If you get a 7A loan before September 27th, you get 6 months of payments on your loan. So that's a great thing.
That is a great thing. And Mike, I just got a question from one of our participants in the program, and I'm going to pass this football over to you to see if you can help us answer it. The question is from Jocelyn Atienza Alferez. Thank you, Jocelyn, for your question. It says, I've applied with Bluevine at the beginning of May, and my dashboard says my application is almost complete. This is at the beginning of May. She applied at Bluevine. Yet I haven't heard from them to this date. Does that mean I have to apply with other lenders still? Mike, what would you recommend to someone who's in limbo with a current application?
So my direct answer is I don't know. However, what you can do is the process goes like this. You apply with a lender. They submit that application to the SBA. If the SBA approves that application, then the lender has to do some more legwork with the borrower. If the SBA has approved that application, then your EIN number will be flagged in the system as having already been approved. So going to another bank will not help because they'll just submit the application. It'll get kicked back because you've already been approved. So what you need to find out is, are you in the SBA system? And I know that the SBA can help you with that if you, if Delia can't help, I do know some resources, and I'm pretty sure she can, but if you can find out if you have an SBA approval, that will kind of tell you what the next step should be.
Thank you,
You're
Mike.
absolutely,
Delia,
yeah, this is Delia.
jump right in.
Mike, you are absolutely right in how you responded. The only thing I would add is the SBA district office cannot help somebody that does not have an SBA loan number. So if she has not been assigned a loan number to that particular loan, hopefully it's the PPP, right? SBA can't, at the SBA district office can't do nothing. She needs to continue working with her lender. And you are right when you say she should not be going to another bank to apply for another loan or for that same loan, okay? That's not going to be very helpful for her. So she does need to go back to the lender, work with the lender. If she has an SBA phone number that she can call with regards to get some assistance, maybe, that would probably be helpful. That would probably be the next step.
Yeah.
But definitely she needs to be working with the lender.
Yeah. And I believe Bluevine is one of those online financial technology firms. And so Jocelyn, if your application is pending through the Bluevine system, you might still have an opportunity to work with a lender. But just as our experts have mentioned, you definitely want to make sure you get that confirmation before you apply for another loan. Hopefully that answers your question. Thank you so much for our panelists for taking that football for us. If there are any other questions, by all means, please send them in. This is the time to ask your local experts about the PPP loan process. Delia, thank you for jumping in and responding to that question. Do you have any insight or additional tips and advice that you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, I think it's important for everyone to know that there is help available. And I think we can't stress that enough with the panelists we have here today, that there is help available. It is and has been a very long process for all of our small businesses, our small business community, the frustration, the anxiety, the anxiety of what's going to happen to my business, all of these years that I have worked so hard for it. And now look at where I'm at. So there is help out there, and I want them to understand that the help that is available for them, it starts here, but it also can be online. There's virtual mentoring and training that's available for you that you can do with our small business partners online or on a Zoom conference like this. And it's just really understanding, where am I at today? How much do I really need? Let's be reasonable with the amount. How am I going to move this business forward? And how am I going to get the assistance to do this? And it's really just taking a step back. And I'm not a small business owner, so I don't wear your shoes every day. But from my expertise of working with the SBA, the people, our partners, are there to help you. Just as Robin with the information that she shared with us, just as Laura is, Belinda, Mike, we are here to help you. But it does take your it takes you to a level of, okay, how much, where, how, when, the application that I need to fill out now, like you were sharing with us, Edgar, about the application process for the forgiveness portion. It's really taking a step back and saying, I need to do step 1, step 2, step 3, and I really need to reach out to these individuals to get that assistance, because the assistance for you is there. And I just want to rest assure you that as long as you understand, like Jocelyn that just submitted this question, you know, whoever the lender is, whether it be online or you have a person that you're dealing with, you really just need to hone down and say, this is this assistance that I need. Just give me an answer so that I could hold on to, or give me what's my next step. What's my next process? You know, and by doing that in a calm and you're assisting them, they're trying to assist you. So it's, you know, it's really a partnership that you're taking on that probably you've never had to experience before, but now is the time for you to really just step back. It's kind of like when I worked on a loan that I'm working on personally, a mortgage loan, or I'm working on a car loan, or I'm working on a refi loan. There's all kinds of questions coming back and forth from that lender. And I have to take a step back and say, one step at a time, what is she asking me for? Let me go ahead and provide her with this. Okay, now they're going to process that. What's my next step? You know what I mean? There's a step-by-step process. And just like you're experiencing that now, we all experience it at one point or another in our lives, in our personal lives. But it's just taking a step back, helping them to help you. I guess that's what I can really say. Help them so that they can help you.
Wonderful. That's great advice, Delia. Thank you so much for that. And I appreciate everyone's expertise on the call as well. I also want to share with our audience that on June 1st, we will be launching our forgiveness module in the virtual training program. So in the CARES Act Readiness Program, you will be able to jump back in and take our forgiveness module where we will explain and help you fill out that application, so that you are ready to go and you're able to speak the same language with your lender. That's very important to build those solid relationships. Thank you again to all of our panelists for joining us this morning. And now I'd like to jump over to our next portion of our conversation with our friends over at ASBA, Robin Duncan. She's got some more information that she'd like to share with you as far as resources and what to expect as far as helping you with your business. Robin, welcome to the call.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone. And it was so wonderful to hear from Delia, and she stated so well that assistance is available to you. And through the Arizona Small Business Association, we are here to provide resources for you. We have a speed mentoring program, and this is available to you if you're looking for specifics such as a CPA, attorneys, bankers, financial advisors, business advisors, marketing and human resource experts, just to name a few. I'd like to mention too that we have partnered with many great industry experts, and some of these will provide you education that was also mentioned that we do through webinars and Zoom calls, and those are in the safety, marketing, human resource, and virtual selling areas. We partnered with the Arizona chapter of National Safety Council, and this is something that we're doing to bring back to your offices and workplace. This will provide you information twice a week. There is a webinar that is being placed by the National Safety Council for the next 6 months. And feel free to participate. Feel free to reach out to me too if there are specific topics that you'd like covered regarding safety in the workplace. I'd like to mention too that we've heard from so many great partners today and industry experts. I'd like to also mention something about another great resource out there, and that's through the ACA, the Arizona Commerce Authority. They work to support Arizona small businesses in the community as well. And the ACA has a small business boot camp. And Collective is a new statewide initiative that they designed to help businesses return stronger than ever. The boot camp will provide a daily touch point for business leaders to connect with mentors, learn strategies to help navigate this uncertain environment now. And you can find more information on that through the azcommerce.com. And again, that information will be in the toolkit, which ASBA will be providing to you at the end of this session. I'd like to close and thank you again for attending this informative information from everyone that you've heard from. And I'd like to mention that the ASBA organization, Arizona Small Business Association, has set up a dedicated email for you. Should you have additional questions, feel free to reach us at caresactaz@asba.com, or we're just a phone call away, and feel free to call us too. We're at 602-306-4000. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robin. And I want to remind everyone again that we do have a dedicated email. It's caresactaz@asba.com. It is on your screen, so if you are watching our Zoom call, you may take a screenshot of that email. The toolkit will be coming from that email as well. But thank you so much, Robin, for all of that great information and resources available. All right, and so additional resources for you. If you don't have an existing banking relationship or you cannot submit through your current lender or bank, here is an additional resource we'd like to share with you. It is called Acronis CyberFit Financing. They're powered by Lendio. Lendio is an online tool that will connect you to a network of approved lenders who are ready and available to process your application. There is no fee to use Lendio services. The link is on our screen, but the link will also be included in your toolkit at the end of our call. So make sure you take a look at Lendio services. It is an online tool to help you connect to approved lenders. There is no fee to use this service. And moving on also with some final tips and summarizing basically kind of the stuff that we've talked about today. There's 3 scenarios that I'd like to share some advice with you for. And they are, if you already applied for the PPP and got approved, here's what you can do. Mike was mentioning about keeping track of all of your funds. It's very, very, very good advice. Set up a new bank account and keep track of all of the funds that you have been spending. Remember that 75% goes to payroll and 25% on utilities and rent. Track how you spent it, what you spent it on, and when you spent it. You'll want to apply for forgiveness when the time comes, and as I was mentioning, it's an 8-week period as it is now, as the way the program is described now. So if you're coming close to that date, start having that conversation with your bank so that you can apply for the forgiveness. And remember to file your 2019 taxes if you haven't done so. The deadline has been deferred until July 15, 2020. If you applied and are waiting to hear about your funds, here's what you can do. While we're waiting, and if you've gotten some kind of confirmation, we're recommending that you plan for your recovery and create new goals. Delia was talking about taking time to reflect and organize and strategize so that you can support your lender. That's some great advice. During this time, it's a great time to reorganize. It's a great time to create some new goals and think about what the next steps for your business are going to be. If you are self-employed and don't have employees, make sure you see the SBA guidelines to ensure you can qualify for any benefits such as unemployment or small business relief programs under the CARES Act. We have posted the link here for the Department of Economic Security for the state of Arizona, and they have some pandemic unemployment assistance funds available. So check out that link. It is on our screenshot. But if you'd like that link, it's des.az.gov/PUA. That link will also be in your toolkit. Complete your application and stay in touch with your bank regularly so you don't lose your spot. As Belinda and Mike and Delia have all been mentioning, that a relationship with your bank is very important, and you don't want to lose your spot in the order of applications on how they're being processed. If you have not applied for small business relief, here's what to expect. We are encouraging folks to still apply. There is you want to be in line to receive funding before it runs out again. There are funds available out there, so make sure that you talk to your lender about your eligibility. And if anything, use Lendio's service that I had just mentioned to submit your application for the PPP or EIDL program. Quick note about the EIDL program, the funds are now directed only for agricultural businesses, so make sure you check out the eligibility for that program as well. Gather your documents that you'll need. You'll need some ownership documents of your business. You'll need tax filings for the last 2 years, your payroll records, and any forms that your lender may require you to fill out. Check out your local chambers of commerce and economic development offices for grants, discount programs, and educational resources. Check your email for that toolkit. As Robin was also mentioning, we have a lot of great partners and resources available. Women's Business Development Centers. Mike works for the Maricopa Small Business Development Center. They're an SBA-funded resource, so take advantage of that. They are accepting virtual consultations. And the PPP loan forgiveness, there is a guide available on how to fill out the loan application, and so that will also be included in your toolkit. I do have a link on the screen here, so if you want to take a screenshot of that, feel free to do so now. But as I was mentioning, the loan application is available online through the Treasury website, and a guide has been created by the United States Chamber of Commerce. That information, you'll find it also in your toolkit to help you out. And as I was mentioning, June 1st, we should have now a module created and launched for anyone who would like to go through that training to be able to fill out the application. And so with that, I want to thank everyone for participating in today's session. It was a great informational session as always. And I want to remind you of a couple of things that check your email from ASBA. They will be sending you an email with a toolkit of information we went over today, as well as an evaluation link for you to tell us how we are doing with this program. Please visit our partners' resources such as CDC Small Business Financing, ASBA, Arizona Chamber of Commerce, the Arizona Commerce Authority, Lendio, the SBA, Maricopa SBDC. They've all worked very hard to bring you sophisticated tools to help you and be by your side as we help small businesses access capital from the CARES Act. Thank you, partners and panelists, for your presentations today, and thank you, business owners, for showing resilience, commitment, and patience, and above all, for allowing us to help you during this time. We are here to help. We will get through this together. Have a wonderful weekend.